This is James Mathers for the Digital Cinema Society at NAB 2024. I'm here in the TIFFEN booth with my good friend Garrett Brown.
For the 400th time.
Probably, something like that. But it never gets old with Garrett. As a matter of fact, they're celebrating the 50-year anniversary of Steadicam right now. And he still keeps coming up with new ideas and new innovations. So can you tell us about the new innovations?
I've heard that line before from you. I love that. First of all, 50 years, how about that? You know, that's a lot to grapple with. I'm still gobsmacked by that. And it has been 50 years of, innovating, I have to say, starting with the original Steadicam. Lots of great stuff over the years. But this baby, which we've been invented a few years ago, is widespread in the industry. And we have just upped the ante with this Volt technology. And the Volt filled a need that, we almost didn't articulate, which is, yes, we're very good at Steadicam. We can do all sorts of stuff with it. We can keep it level. We can do, all this. Except that there's a psychological and I think physical toll for keeping it level, because that's not a productive job creatively. We take that for granted. The shot has got to be level. But fully a third or a quarter of your brain power was involved in that task. Is it level? Hi there. Hi. Is it level? Hi. Oh my God, it's a little off level. And we always dreamed of a scheme that would take over that housekeeping chore and do that for us. And several, now 5 or so years ago, the Volt did that, and I think very cleverly. 2 little motors that tweak the gimbal based on a sensor, and you don't need to know anything about that. All you know is that, God, I'm a better operator today than I ever was, and I don't have to think about it. And now the missing axis, the third axis, which is the pan axis, is now being influenced by the Volt. This is Jerry Hallway, one of our co-inventors. I have numerous co-inventors on this job. And now it is the 2 axes, which we had before, and a coaxial pan motor that takes over the pan axis. And I give you one example. Suppose it's windy. Wind is a nightmare for Steadicam operators. And now suddenly pan stays where it's put. And in fact, you can dial it up so wind, do your worst. It just sits there, And yet your opportunity to do this wonderful job of operating a camera is completely unaffected by it. Everything that you need to do, you still have perfect control over. So in many ways, we sort of nailed this job with the original Steadicam, and I'm just returning to a book that I started years and years ago, and along the way I added up what is it we're doing. We're addressing 6 axes of potential instability. 3 of them are angular: pan, tilt, and roll, the deadly roll. And 3 of them are spatial: up and down, in and out, and side to side, right? And then once you isolate the camera from the operator in those 6 axes, that's the original Steadicam. Except that we had to be in active charge of roll, level, right? And we had to physically hold the camera at a given tilt. And that's tricky, And along comes this little electronic helper, and now it'll hold a tilt as you like, what we not very inventively call sticky mode. It will now hold a pan. And that is just something amazing, because of course it's a 3-axis job, Steadicam,
Now, people talk about either Steadicam or gimbal, but it seems like you've got the best elements of both.
Well, the gimbal is, may I say, stupidly stable. It's just dumbly stable in all 3 axes. The trouble is that you, the operator, don't have one-to-one great control over that. You move your hand and it follows. You move your hand and it follows. And in fact, the essence of operating is, go for that and go for that. And that is a very unforgiving job. You've got to nail that, and I've got to get to you, The same way that we operate our eyes, basically, which is we're spectacular operators of our eyes as humans, highly evolved visual equipment that we have, boom, whip pan, whip pan. And we're now getting to the point where this instrument even more closely follows the way our ability to operate our eyeballs, And in fact, we have the audience's eyeballs in our hand. We're the one who places their vision, It's a little broader than that. We place, let's say, their head position in analogous terms, and they're still able to look around within the frame we give them. And if you're clever and you're good and you're artistic, that's a wonderful combination. And so here we have two of these instruments, one based on the Zephyr, which is going to get a new name. We're still arguing about the name. And as of this morning, it's the Axis. Tomorrow it may be the Allies, who knows? And this one, we're arguing about what to call this now 3-axis version of the Volt. The M3. Oh, I love that. But the essence of it is it's still a Steadicam. So back to your question, Steadicam is a stabilizer in space as well as in angle. And there's the difference with the gimbals. The gimbals are angular, but if you are heavily loaded and you're walking along, we see your footsteps unless you're really clever, And the Steadicam is isolated in all those axes. So I would be much more impressed with myself if I had gotten this thing earlier, but it's wonderful. Steve Wagner is our principal electronic partner, an absolute genius. Steve came to us years ago with a curiously stabilized version of the sort of JR, if you remember that, or the Merlin, And we have put him to work strenuously to get the Volt to the state it's in now. And then a host of other partners at TIFFEN that have helped us get this done. So I must say, it could not be a better 50th anniversary for me than to sit here and look at this thing and go, hey, we're still in the game. We're still, God, it's too immodest. I can't say it. I can't say it.
Well, you should be justifiably proud. Congratulations, Garrett.
We're justifiably proud.
Congratulations on 50 years.
James, great to see you again. Look at that, a one-handed shift of the mic and he shakes hands. Great to see you. Next year, again.